Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a silver Moira. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do drop a like, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and let's see what we can get into here with our silver Moira review.
System check initiated.
King's Row, you've got a Ryan Zarya and a Brig, works for me. Fair is going to be a little tough for you to manage, but your Brig should be able to manage the Ferret and the Doomfist reasonably. So you've got tank duty here.
5, 4, 3.
That's nice, Val. I try to do that sometimes, but the game moves at too quick of a pace for me to do that all the time. I would like to do some more of that. It's a bit of a balance of, do I want to talk about a team fight that was happening 2-3 team fights ago? But I get what you're saying. I am looking to do a bit more of that because I have drifted a bit further from that than I like. If we don't get a nano check after this experimental, I'm going to be upset. Fair, fair. Okay, so here we are. Let's do a quick rewind here. Fine. You're doing that. You don't really care about shield break that much. Like, we're doing our shield break. It's like, yeah, whatever. That's fine. You have basically full resource here. You're going to use an orb to heal. I can live with that. I don't want to use the orb plus left click because I just don't need to spend that much left click. Like, I'm down almost a quarter of my left click, and I'm at 16% healing, and I just put my orb on, or 16% ult, and I put my orb on cooldown. So, like, I need to make sure that by the time I run out of resource, I have my ult. I'd like to get my ult pretty early in the match because that's how this hero works if I'm going to be effective. So we're a little heavy on resource use here. This was a use orb or heal your team situation. This wasn't a use orb and heal your team situation. It certainly wasn't a use orb and orb. Heal team. Done. Done healing team. Still done healing team. Your heal actually applies a little bit of a heal over time effect, where it does some direct healing to them that just forces their HP up, but then for like another second or two, their HP continues to drift upwards a little bit. We call that a hot heal over time, and I really just want to let that do some of its work. And your Reinhardt, as you can see, I'm going to once again go through this. You throw this healing orb, which is going to heal him some. Then you do this. You did hit him with a little bit of healing here. He's already full. He might not show up as full yet, but he's already full health. He's got the heal over time applied to him. He's got a mercy beam attached to him. Your orb might bounce back for him. We didn't really contain our orb here very well. We wanted to sort of trap it where it bounces around. Like maybe we throw it off this wall so it bounces off the bus, that sort of thing, and stays around. But that's what we're looking at, and this isn't really what we wanted. Now, any heal past this right here is definitely too much healing. Definitely too much healing. At least we moved over to our Zarya, but I could have stopped healing, moved over to Zarya, and just applied a little bit of heal. And again, I don't need a big giant heal on Zarya like, oh, I'm cleave healing. No, you're not. You're not cleave healing because your Reinhardt's already full health. Our team isn't even brawling yet. We're not actively fighting the opponents, and we're down below half. We're at about 35, 37%, maybe 40%, probably 40% resource here, and our team isn't even fighting the other team yet. If we went from 100 to 40% because our Reinhardt was actively swinging at their Orisa and was taking damage, sure, no problem whatsoever. But that hasn't really happened yet. Our Reinhardt hasn't done anything. He's got 12% ult charge. Our Zarya has 4% ult charge. There's no fighting that's really happening right now. This is just a poke phase, and it's a poke phase where you have hard cover, where your Reinhardt has his shield available. No one's in trouble. No one's in a situation where you just need to fire hose healing into them. They're perfectly healthy. And if we don't need to fire hose healing into anyone, there's really no reason for our resource to drop below about here. Because no one's actually fighting. We can let hot work happen. We can let them get healed up as they're behind cover. We can be very cheap on our resource use with we just tap left click, wait a second, second and a half, tap it again, that sort of thing, to keep reapplying the hot and to let our regen work back on it. So like this is, now we do not have the ability to support what Moira's actually good at supporting, which is for limited amounts of time, she's pretty good at supporting, Reinhardt, swing like a wild man, like she's good at supporting that, but not if we have 40% resource when we start. Just puked out half the resources there. Exactly. That Ryan's full, and so is the Zarya. You could be going, Spider-Man, you could be going and zapping that Echo in the air, but healing right now isn't doing anything.
This will heal you.
Okay. He's fine. He really is. That's a fire strike, not a swing. If his health went lower, we might fire hose him a little bit, but your heal is already working. He has armor. Now you might go back to healing him. Cool. He's out. Okay, you do a little damage. No, now I'm looking interested in healing him. Like, this is kind of exactly backwards.
This will heal you.
He's fine. He fire strikes. I don't love that he fire struck, but whatever. I would stop healing him. Now I see he's just about to run out of armor, so now I'd go back to healing him, and I'd actually put some real healing into him. Not much, but some real healing into him right now. Not this. This is not the time to be doing damage. Put some real healing into him. And I'd still have wanted to heal him until I got his health back up to, like, 70%, something like that, and then I'd just go back into hot healing. This is almost exactly backwards. Ship in the Dark says, got it. I think I see people start to take damage and assume they're going to go in, so wait a second before fire hosing to make sure they're going to need it. Yeah, you also just get better at reading when they're actually taking real damage. Like, you can let your hot be applied almost constantly to your two tanks. If you're sitting at basically full resource, so like up around here-ish, it basically costs you nothing to apply the hot to them once every 2 seconds or so. With just the gentlest little touch, apply the hot to them, whatever. If you're down here, you don't want to be doing that because you won't be regaining resources, and that's a problem. But if you're up here, you don't care if you're not regaining resources as long as you're not really losing them either, keeping the hot rolling on people. And that's kind of the stage that you would have been in back there. But you should get better at telling when your team wants to push, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Reinhardt shouldn't want to push right now, but he does. We'd love to support this with an orb, but we can't. Okay, so he's actually okay right now.
This will heal you. I will rebuild you.
He's got a Zarya bubble. He's backing up. It's weird, but I don't need to fire hose heal him. Yes, he's right in the middle of the choke, but I don't expect him to get in trouble. He's got a very healthy heal. His momentum is backwards. He has his Zarya bubble. I'm going to apply some heal to get him to about here, and now I want to just go back to hot healing. So I'd stop healing him for a second, and then do a little puff of healing again. And if he started walking forward, like he is now, that might change things. Okay, that's a problem. Doomfist is not your concern. I know you think, oh, I have to heal Doomfist, and the only way I can heal Doomfist is by sending an orb to him, and maybe it'll work, and the orb will bounce back and forth on this stairway up, and he'll be rotating up here, and he'll get lots of healing, and it'll be great. Maybe that's how it'll work, but you just need to let your, now Mercy, deal with Doomfist. You want to focus on tank healing. You're much better at it. You wanted to let your Mercy, or what we thought was going to be a Brig earlier, handle the DPS healing. By and large. If a DPS is standing in your cleave, great, get them. If a DPS is right next to you, fine, get them. But I don't want to commit your orb to supporting a DPS right now. Yeah, I know. There's been a lot of Mercy Beam on tank here, Val. I don't want to fight a Hanzo. Okay, a little bit of healing. You don't have the resource to fire hose heal him, especially when he's backing off. You don't.
Your power is mine.
Okay. You do want to fire hose heal him while he's actively swinging like that. Okay, he has the bubble, so we're looking to do something else. He desperately needs some juice off of her. There you go. Sure. Works for me. Look around to see if there's anyone you can heal with just a tiny bit of tap healing. Okay.
Objective A captured.
You're really not a very good person for the cart here, but you're gonna have to do it, aren't you? Okay. Not here. Not here.
I require assistance.
Okay. So here you go.
Assistance.
Here you go. I don't want to stand here. I see where my Reinhardt is, and there's basically no situation where I want to stand just in the middle of the lane like this. I might scoot myself over here and be like, I can just peek it slightly and right-click if they try to peek the corner, and then close the angle if I take damage. I'll also be able to support my Reinhardt if they try to walk forward, or my Reinhardt walks out to enforce this corner. I'll be able to support him from here. I don't really want to be in the middle here. That's not really high on my list. And you decide you're going to push cart, which I'm actually good with in this situation. Moira's not a good cart pusher, and the reason you're not a good cart pusher is you can't offer enough forward presence while cart pushing, but you're a better choice than Mercy, and Mercy's actually pretty good at supporting a forward team even without another support. Just throw a damage orb in? Okay. Cool. Yeah, you can push that. Good. Fine. Why are you still here? Okay.
The payload moves towards our desired outcome.
Your Ryan is AFK? I don't really want to end that there. That's a little on the dangerous side. Like, here you are, you decide that it's too dangerous, and you fade and end here. Why didn't we just fade into hotel and get this mega? Like, that was weird. That would have been a much better place to fade. You don't need to go back to challenging this Hanzo with less than 100 health. Let your Zarya take care of him. What is Ryan doing? Good question. Silvers don't know what Snowball is. Yeah. Ryan had a different plan than the rest of the team. Okay. Cool. You have full resource, so I'd like to keep walking up here, and now I'd like to apply some heal to Reinhardt. I want to apply some heal to Reinhardt. You have full resource, and Reinhardt does not have full health, and you do not do very much damage. You get a little bit of damage pressure out of your right click, but it's primarily a tool to keep your resources going and to defend yourself against squishies, flankers, that sort of thing. So, like, I'm okay with doing damage, but I at least want that damage to be giving me some level of regen for my resource. So I can go, hey, let me put a little bit of healing into Reinhardt since he's missing health, and then while that hot is rolling, well, I just said that there's a 1 to 2 second hot here. While that's rolling, that's a perfectly good thing. What can I do with that time? Well, I can do more damage to the Sigma, or to a barrier, or to a Moira, or whatever. So if my Reinhardt's missing health, and I have full resource, no brainer. Let's put some hot on him. Put some of the healing. Now he doesn't have armor anymore, and now I'm gonna have to spend real time healing him, and that's annoying.
I'm on fire.
What? No. No. What are you doing? You've just written off your Reinhardt, who, by the way, could be at full health right now. But you've written off your Reinhardt and said, well, no one's pushing cart, so I'm going to go do it. I don't care. I don't care that no one's pushing cart. You can't just leave your Reinhardt here to get eliminated. If you prop your Reinhardt up and let him enforce his corner, it's very hard for this team to push through a corner that's being enforced to get to the cart. So you have more time for your team to figure out who's going to touch cart and move it forward. But it can't be you, because you're already up here and your Reinhardt needs your healing. This isn't something Mercy could handle anymore, and Mercy also is all the way back here, and believe it or not, is going to be the one who's going to get cart and push cart through and continue to make progress for you. Like, if you heal Reinhardt right now, you, Reinhardt, and Doomfist sort of hold this corner until these guys get 5-6 people and can push through. Right now, they don't have that. Right now, they have 2 people. 2 people cannot push through you, Doomfist, and Reinhardt, assuming you care about your Reinhardt even remotely. Now you're going to lose your Reinhardt. You guys are going to get counter-staggered a little bit. Your staggering of them is over, and they're going to come forward and almost certainly get to make a real team fight stop attempt, because your Reinhardt will be later than any of theirs people, based on spawn distances and based on when he went down, than theirs will be. So they'll get a 6v5 here, and you guys will either stagger and take that 6v5, not totally staggering, but take a bad fight, or you'll have to back off and wait and have given them control when you could have had this enforced. This is like, you just pulled the ripcord on your Reinhardt and went, nope, nope, I'm done, I'm abandoning you. I don't care that the card isn't moving. Like, someone should be moving at the card, and you can shout at your team in comms to move the card. You're not going to go do it yourself in this situation. Okay. Would you, Nabla? Would you be inspecting the texture of this payload to find the best place to spray it? No,
We
no,
must ensure the
no.
payload's progress. Get into position.
Ugh.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Right.
Better. Okay. Okay. Try to keep him up. That's a lot of healing. And you, like, it was a lot of healing, and I think you thought, oh, I'm gonna get my Doomfist. Everyone's fine. Everyone's more than fine. Doomfist isn't here. Doomfist isn't in your healing range. I promise. I think you just don't realize that. So you're spending a lot of resource. Okay. You countercall. You countercall.
Regenerating.
Fine.
Help me.
Like, yes, they were winning. They had Cole plus Valkyrie. They were going to be able to push into you, but you just needed to prop your team up a little bit better and or, you know, make it a little harder for them to move in so that you guaranteed this cap. I did not want to, and Cole was enough to do that. Now, fortunately, you've saved your Cole and you got the cap, so even if you lose this fight, it's not the end of the world. Your spawn is right here, but that was worth investing Cole in to make sure you got it.
Not yet. This will heal you.
Okay. Why are we fading in? Okay, Hog closed the angle, so let's just apply damage pressure to Moira. Or let's close the angle. Like, your resources aren't really a problem anymore. I don't like how low you are, but there's no way you're getting me to fade into this. Zarya was already body blocking for me with her bubble. Why am I fading into this? I just put fade on cooldown for no reason.
Time the delay.
I had that question too. Is it usually a good idea to counter Cole whenever the enemy pops Cole? It's fine to counter Cole when the enemy pops Cole. Coalescence can be used pretty... If you have Cole... Cole's one of those ults that really what you're trying to do is you're trying to use it very, very early in the match. You didn't get the option to because your team just won the first team fight and won it hard. You could have used it in the second team fight. We didn't. At least I think you had it by the second team fight. That's a resource mismanagement issue if we didn't. But really, Cole is an ult that you want to use frequently, often. You want to use it going into the fight. And yes, if the opponent hits a coalescence, it's frequently going to be worthwhile to mirror their coalescence, assuming they're hitting their coalescence towards the beginning of the fight or in a relatively even fight. So like a 6v6, a 4v4, that sort of thing. You would like to hit your coalescences generally, either right as you get them, when a fight is still relatively even, or sort of towards, we'll effectively say, as soon as you see an opening to get an elimination on someone who's about 2 seconds from cover. If there's a squishy who's about 2 seconds from cover, we're going to pop coalescence and just delete them in an otherwise even fight. That's what we're going to do. Otherwise, or if that's not an option, we're going to support our tank who is already brawling. So as our tanks meet, as our tanks are brawling, we can support that fight happening. This time, I didn't want our tanks to be brawling. I didn't want their tanks to get to our tanks because I wanted to hold them back. I didn't want them to touch card. Oh, we have a super chat coming in from StoneMonkey84 for 500 saying, finally, a Moira review from the best Overwatch coach on YouTube. As a Moira main, this warms my little heart. Keep pumping out great content, and I'm happy to support you. See you in Overwatch 2. Thank you, StoneMonkey84. That's an amazing super chat for $500 there. I really do appreciate that. Very awesome. If you have any questions, comments, other things you are looking to pick my brain out related to Moira, definitely let me know. But I'm happy to know that You think I'm the best Overwatch coach on YouTube? I am the best Overwatch coach on YouTube, but I'm happy to know that. And thank you so much for the super chat once again, saying, finally, a Moira review from the best Overwatch coach on YouTube. As a Moira main, this warms my little heart. Keep pumping out great content, and I'm happy to support. See you in Overwatch 2. Cool. Okay, so we're going to continue this. So going back to your coalescence here, as soon as you get it is a good time if the fight is relatively even. When the fight is happening and you see a squishy about 2 seconds away from cover that you can just delete with it, or when your tanks are just brawling, you can use it. But you do want to use it early and often. It is a pretty cheap ult, and a lot of its power comes from getting it as the first ult on the board and using it to win that first or second team fight. Okay.
Heroes never die. Perhaps
And if that last team fight wasn't clear again, we wanted you to use Coalescence because they poured 2 or 3 ults in to initiate, and you just wanted them to have a little bit more traffic to push through, because if they won that fight with the 3 ults, it didn't matter as long as you capped. If they won that fight and you didn't cap, it was a big problem. You were more than happy to trade your 1 ult to make sure the cap happened when they were using 3, though. Okay, so you throw out a healing orb here, but that's not a very good angle for it. Like, this is happening. You want to heal Zarya a little, no problem. You scoot over here to heal, and then you sort of realize, wait, I just want to heal the group. The group doesn't really need it anymore. Zarya's the only one who needs it, and I don't want a healing orb forward here. If anything, I wanted to healing orb back here and bounce it, because I want to keep this healing orb contained within my group for longer. So it's healing my group for longer. You threw it in this direction. You didn't do your geometry homework, and now this orb is just going to leave in this direction. If your team was actively pushing right now, this might be right, but I don't have any reason to believe that your team is going to do that. Maybe you think it would be a good idea for your team to push right now. Maybe it would be cool if your team pushed right now. I don't actually think it would be a terribly good idea for your team to push right now. We see Frenzy is in spawn, so that's not great. So we look at that, and that's not the best thing in the world. But what we look at here is, hey, if we push with, what was I saying? If we bounce it, it's contained, we're good. If you're generally trying to go, no, I want to throw my orb to lead my team in, I'm mostly going to recommend you don't do that, and I'm instead going to say, react to what your team is already doing. Like, I saw you had the question earlier about, oh, okay, I thought my Reinhardt was going to go in and he didn't. Support the play that's actually happening. Watch what people are actually doing, not what you hope they're doing, which is the unfortunate reality. So if you see your Reinhardt actually walking forward, sure, throw the orb forward. But that's not what you're seeing here. Support the play that's happening, not the one you want. Okay. What is a durable AoE support? Enables frontline heavy comps as well. Yeah. Come join Discord. We do server scrims. Absolutely. Hop into Discord. We do server scrims. We do server pugs. It's a lot of fun. What about when Heal Orb and Cole versus Damage Orb and Cole? Are there any general rules or priorities here? Yeah, so generally what you're going to do is throw out Damage Orbs with Coalescence. What'll frequently happen is you'll either throw a Damage Orb Fade Coalescence or you'll Fade Damage Orb Coalescence to create an angle that allows you to have about that 2 seconds that I'm talking about, because you know that you will get both of those cooldowns back, or basically back, by the time Coalescence is over, so you're not really giving anything up by putting them on cooldown. And Coalescence is better used, that priority for it is using that Coalescence to get the elimination. So if you can, with your Coalescence, get an elimination on someone who's 2 seconds from cover, and if you can make them 2 seconds from cover by fading yourself onto a more aggressive angle, that's acceptable. The secondary use of Coalescence is enable your tanks and help them finish charging their ults let them play aggressive, that sort of thing. This is what you downshift into after you already got your elimination or there's not more to be had, or if the target you were trying to eliminate is getting away, or if you got your Cole early and there's just not a squishy to go after, but your tanks are at like 60, 70, 80% on their shatter, their grav, their supercharger, that sort of thing, but there's a Rhine swinging into them, there's a monkey in their face, whatever, because hey, I'll enable my tanks, I'll be healing my tanks a bunch, which lets them play silly aggressive, will hurt anyone that they're hurting, that's fine, and you pick a tank to enable. You don't go, oh, let me jump from enabling my tank to doing damage. You don't go, hey, let me do damage to one person, then swap over to another. You follow someone until they're eliminated, or you simply can't follow them anymore, and you enable your tank the whole time if that's what you're doing. You try to cleave as many people as possible while enabling the tank that you've picked, but you do keep that tank in your coalescence the whole time. And if you eliminate someone, you can either try to eliminate a second person or you can downshift to then doing this. And usually you're going to be better off after that elim downshifting to this. So when it comes to heal and Cole versus damage orb and Cole, again, usually it's going to be your damage orb, but you're not necessarily going to wait for a damage orb to be available before you Cole. If you used a heal orb to get you to your coalescence, great. And okay, hit your fade and Cole, or just Cole if you have a target in place. And it can be nice to just Cole if you have a target you can eliminate, because while eliminating that target, you're more likely to cleave your own team with the heals, which is a higher value number, even though the elim is more valuable, while you're going for it. If you need to create an angle to get that elim, though, absolutely feel free to hit that fade throughout the orb, hit the Cole, go for it with your elim there. Okay. You don't even know Adam? Okay, Stone Monkey. That's in response to Blah's theory that maybe Stone Monkey was Adam wanting to make a super chat without saying temporal sex, which is sort of Adam's signature there. Okay. Let's continue here with our Moira.
Surrender to my
Cool. Okay, so you went for your coalescence here.
Surrender to my will.
And this is fine, except that I don't know who you're targeting. So we go for this. And what's the plan? Like, it looks like you're trying to coalescence to enable your tanks here. And that's not my favorite. Maybe you're coalescing to try to hurt their Mercy, but I don't think you're going to be able to eliminate her because she's so tight on cover. Hanzo's tight on cover. I don't really like that. Moira's got cover and has fade. So I don't really see a squishy that you can eliminate with this, and that's what we were talking about fading to get an angle. I don't necessarily want you to separate from your team long enough to get over here, but you could have walked up with your team, faded yourself over here with a damage orb, and then coalescence, or faded yourself over here with a damage orb and then coalescence. If you don't want to do that and you want to do the tank support, that's fine. I just don't really want to make a tank support coalescence when my Reinhardt already has Shatter if I can avoid it. Like, I'd actually like him to also already be brawling. I don't rate this as a very great coalescence because my Reinhardt was really too far. He can't swing. He can't be like, yes, here's a great excuse to drop my shield and swing because I have this coalescence pumping a lot of healing into me because he's so far away. So he can use his shield to get close right now, and you're not really helping your Reinhardt do work. Your Reinhardt also has Shatter. Your Zarya, this might help her a little if you're trying to pocket her, but she's so far from her grab, she doesn't have energy, like she's not a great threat to enable right now. So I don't rate this coalescence very highly. You're trying to use it to eliminate a tank. I can see that now. What you did is you picked Orisa as your target. That's generally not what you want to do. Coalescence does pretty good damage, but it doesn't do great damage. It's definitely something that tanks have ways to survive, between Fortify, between getting heals, between getting naded and healed. Like, tanks are not a reliable target for enemy tanks. Your tanks are a good target to enable, and you'll hurt the enemy tanks. You'll put more pressure on them while healing your tanks because this is a piercing Coalescence. But you generally don't want to go, oh yes, I'm starting on tank. Now you're just going to try to eliminate the squishies, but that's okay. I was going for the Orisa since she was low health. If a tank is less than 200 HP, do they still not count for that elim priority for Cole? No, they don't, because they will have better defensive cooldowns than most squishies, and also they can be explosively healed back up. Like, they get a Annonade, they pop Primal, they pop Self-Destruct and have another mech, they Fortify and take half damage while Moira and Mercy heal them back up. They're going to have better tools for surviving. I really wouldn't make enemy tanks a good target for Coalescence. Either enemy squishies that are a good 2 seconds or so from cover, and by the way, that Orisa was not far from cover, or your tanks who are already brawling, either because even if they're a close range, even if they're a long range hero like Orisa, they're already brawling because someone is in their face. Like, there's a diva in their face, there's Reinhardt in their face. I'm going to enable my Orisa. It's fine. There was a $500 super chat from Stone Monkey here. It was great. Yeah. Adam needs to up his game. Okay. Awesome super chat there.
I am off
Triple kill.
Got it. That makes sense. Good.
the payload moves with
Okay,
certainty.
we got our limbs. We like it.
My will made real.
Okay, there's not really anyone there for that orb. Unfortunate. Lost a little cart time there.
Get into position.
Good question, Game Buster. Good question. Maybe I'll put it in Bitcoin.
This will restore you. Help me.
Payload is approaching its destination.
Okay, this I can live with.
Is approaching its destination.
So I can live with what's going on here. I don't love the Mercy Beam on the Reinhardt, but you don't control this. So be it. Little bit of heal. Heal orb. I don't really want the heal orb here. He's not being aggressive enough. I do want to do damage here,
I'm restoring you.
and I'm not sure who I'm healing. I can throw a tiny bit of healing, get my hot going again onto my Reinhardt. That's good, but that's more than I needed to get that hot going again. That's more than I need to keep the hot going. Cool. I can get the hot going again. Where's my hot? My hot's over. I want to reapply it. Like, I'm not getting high value right click here. I'm just right clicking a barrier. So, like, not a big deal to me. Oh, I'm right clicking a barrier. Woohoo. You don't break barriers very quickly. So, like, there's absolutely no reason. If you were about to finish off an echo or something, sure, you stand the echo for the extra half second and finish her off rather than reapplying your hot. But if you're on a tank or you're on a barrier, just reapply your hot. The heal over time. It makes Reinhardt more attractive when you apply the heal over time to him. That's why we call it a hot. No, obviously it's an abbreviation for heal over time. Again, I probably don't go with a healing orb here. This is fine. The enemy team does not have a diva, so I'm pretty willing to throw damage orbs into this, because, hey, if I throw a damage orb, it's gonna be uncomfortable. They're all trying to hide behind the cart. That's what they're using as their cover. A damage orb will make them uncomfortable, and my Reinhardt's okay. Like, my Reinhardt is not struggling. He has lots of barrier left if he feels like he's in trouble. I could be handling his health better with hot management, like we've talked about, whereas the damage orb will get most of its value against this team. It will make this team uncomfortable, and there's no diva to eat it. Okay. Sure. Angle out harder. That's scary. So I'm a little
Injured
worried about this.
again.
I don't really want to walk out here. Like, this is scary because remember, Moira moves pretty fast when she has Coalescence going. I was pretty good with you continuing to back up to here so that you had this as the option to fall back further on. You're not healthy enough to be worried about getting out here to heal these guys, and these guys aren't in that much danger from a Coalescence. You squishies, like you and Mercy are, but your Zarya really isn't in that much danger. Your Mercy's got it. You'll throw a healing orb when you can. I don't need you.
Allow me to repair the
You did throw a
damage.
healing orb. I don't need you here where you were in danger of taking pretty meaningful damage. You need to scream, I need healing at your Mercy more. That could work. That could work. Epic Pen Pro is only 25. Why wouldn't he just buy that? That's less than a cup of coffee in California. It's not quite that bad, but maybe. Yeah, no, a green screen could make sense. We'll probably be changing our setup in the next 2 months here. I don't think we're going to continue out of this office. I don't think I'm going to renew there. So we'll be changing our setup. And what I do for the new setup may be a little more tied to, green screen work, building a little bit of a spot to do it, that sort of thing. So it may go towards that. Fire hose for fires, top heal for tap up. That's good advice.
Your power is mine.
Sterben nicht. Adaptive circuits engaged. Reinhardt. Heroes never die. Reinhardt.
Here we are. I kind of need to get closer to this, and you have Fade. Like, your tanks actually are going to need support. They're going in pretty hard, and you have Fade, so you can afford to do so. So let's keep walking closer. I don't necessarily want to back out, especially now that the Roadhog's gone down. I don't necessarily want to back out. I want to actually stay close enough to heal my Reinhardt, to let him do work. I can play sort of around this cart as my defense, and if I get in trouble, I can fade myself back to here where my soldier is. But I don't, you're not actually being safer. I can tell you're afraid to get close to this, and I totally understand why you're afraid to get close to this. It's scary.
Reinhardt.
But you're not actually doing anything by staying this far back. Moira plays more aggressive. Moira's allowed to stay sort of near the front line. She's a 200 HP hero, but she can get sort of near the front line because she has Fade. So you got to play like you've got Fade. You've got to actually do that and be, hey, I can support my team because I've got Fade. If you didn't have Fade, you're going to have to play more passive. If your Fade was on cooldown, you'd have to play more passive. But you can enable your Reinhardt to get more value right now, and so you gotta. Yeah, your Reinhardt up there. Like, you started to go forward, and now you're like, oh no, it's too close. I don't want to be that close to the enemy. Really? Why? Like, your Reinhardt will overpower their Reinhardt and Moira, maybe. We would like him to. We would like to get close enough to help him, and we're still not in Rein range, and we still have this to play around as defense. Heal him. Heal him. I'm way more interested in healing than damage here. As soon as I'm in range to heal, I want to be getting into range to heal. As soon as I'm in range to heal, I want to be healing him. Like, oof, this one hurts. This one hurts. We do, in terms of pressure, if we think of fights as pressure, you do pitiful amounts of damage and pretty plentiful amounts of healing. So, like, your Reinhardt and their Reinhardt win a race to see which Reinhardt we get eliminated first. And did you do more to win the race by healing your Reinhardt or by damaging their Reinhardt? And the answer there is obvious. It was by healing your Reinhardt, because you heal for a lot more than you do damage.
Rebuild you.
Okay, hot your Zarya for a moment.
This will restore you.
Again, I'm probably more interested in damage orbs against this team. This team is containing itself quite tightly behind this cart, and they don't have a diva. And your team is relatively healthy. I know it doesn't seem like your team should be healthy. There's a dragon going on, but they are. That's scary. I'm not sure I wanted to angle out while a whole hog was going. I'm not sure I wanted to angle out in such a way that pushing me back sent me there. But hey, braver than I. Okay, so we didn't get very good coalescence use, and that's going to be something that's really critical if we want to be successful with Moira. So that's definitely something we'll pay attention to. We'll also pay attention to our heal versus damage distribution. Not like, too much damage, not enough heals, too much heals, not enough damage, because it's more complicated than that. It is a case of, why are you letting your resource get so low before the actual proper brawl is starting, as well as, hey, why are you just hard draining them in the brawl, even if your Reinhardt is mostly healthy? Keep that hot going. You know that this damage is going to get very real very fast. Bravery or foolish? There's a line there somewhere. Yeah, yeah.
Ready for battle.
Ourselves in glorious combat.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Not that the current GPU is bad. Better GPU might be good to get rid of the frame rates. Oh, speaking of which, why don't we go here, video, advanced, no, oh, video. Where is display performance stats? There we go. I think there's a hotkey to do that, and that's what's messing me up there. I think I accidentally pressed the hotkey combination sometimes.
Quit screwing around and get ready to move.
You know, because you walk it all the time, the foolish versus bravery. Okay, okay. Usually on the foolish side. Okay. I don't like it. If you send this damage orb, you have to send it before the match starts, not after.
2, 1. Attackers
No,
engage.
no, no, no.
Defend objective A.
4% ult charge at a risk of taking about 18 to 20 seconds to get back here if this Hanzo one-shots, or if this Hanzo one-shots you. It's not a good trade for you. It's not a good trade. Ryan can go up there and fire strike because Ryan can only get headshot for 295 damage. Ryan's fine. And he can put his shield up and back out and all those things. It's really not a good trade for you to be in line of sight of that spawn entrance when the match begins. If you pre-throw this orb and are back here, or better yet, back here, so you can scoot out, by the time it hits 0 and those doors start to open, I'm okay with it. But that's very hard to do with how fast the orb travels, so I'd rather you just not do it in this situation.
We strike as one. Get in there. Allow me to repair the damage.
Yeah, why is the frame rate so meh? Probably because it's trying to run, the second monitor's little stream thing over there. It's a little surprising it's so meh. It's also because I haven't totally destroyed the quality of the graphics, because I recognize that I'm streaming and I want the quality of the graphics to be okay. If, people who are actually playing, and you guys, if you're actually playing, would want to turn your graphics down. Like, if I look at graphics here, I'll go into this briefly. If you aren't streaming and you're just playing and you don't have an audience, what most people are going to do for their graphics, or they are going to go into advanced here, and they're going to turn all of this stuff way down. Turning all of this stuff way down, getting rid of these highs and ultras, changing this down to, even 50%, you will see a lot of pros will go, yeah, I'll play at 50%, and then they forget what the game looks like if you play it at a higher level. And the reason you do that is because you can force more and more frames. Now, obviously, if you're running the best computer in the world, you can turn it up a little bit, but most of the pros are going to will compromise in favor of frames almost every time. I obviously don't do that because I have some streaming and such going on here.
Help me.
Okay, I'm still worried about that Hanzo. So, here you are.
Allow me to repair the damage.
They have a Hanzo and a Hog and a Reaper. You're healing to support this. We hate that your Reinhardt held this close. I don't really want to be here. It sucks, but I don't really want to be here where they have a sightline on me. I want to play more to the side where I can still heal my tanks. I can very quickly rotate around to here with Fade if I have to, but I'm going to play more over here rather than here. Because if I play here, this is a sightline that the opponents are likely to shoot down, and that makes me uncomfortable. I want to play more with corner, more with cover. find opportunities to peek and get work done, but I'll do those when Hook are on cooldown, for example. When Reaper is faded out, for example. This is a harder comp for you to play into they have, not than before, but like they have a Hog and a Hanzo, and those can both potentially one-shot you, and we don't like it, and we do need to respect somewhat, rather than play here in the opponent's sightline.
Help
Like,
me.
you're actually in more danger than your Reinhardt is right now, which shouldn't really be the case, ever.
Singe it again.
Easy on the healing. We're not going to get a ton of damage opportunities against this team because of the Hanzo and Hog, so we want to go light on our healing until the brawl is happening. When the actual brawl is happening, your team should be distracting enough that, hey, Hanzo should be under too much pressure. Their team should be under too much pressure to try to find you, and you can get a little bit of damage done because you're not a high damage source. You don't create a huge distraction. You don't pull a ton of eyeballs to you. But until like we're actually brawling, we got to keep our resource use pretty low because we're not going to get very many opportunities to do damage. Stone Monkey says, that's the rule no matter if they have snipers or not. Out in the open, 76 can melt you fast. That's true. If they have a Widow Hanzo, you definitely need to hug that cover more because they are 100% hunting you. And that's in response to Semitic's, oh, that's probably rule number 4 of support. If the enemy has snipers, you aren't allowed to play the game. Stay out of sight. Okay.
Get into position. Tell me how this feels.
You probably see this in replay, but I'm going to call it out. This is fine. You're letting your Reinhardt body block for you, and then you close the angle. That was very well done. I like that you're in this position now. That's probably harder healing than you need. Do a little bit of healing. Oh, he stepped out. Now I'd heal harder. First, I'd have just hot healed him because he'd closed the angle. Oh, he's stepping back out. Now I want to heal him a little bit harder because he's still missing health, and he's probably going to take damage. You instead go with an orb, so be it. And you're doing this while he's swinging. This is good, but now it's time to swap back. It's immediately time to swap back. I know that your hot isn't rolling anymore. I want to go ahead and hard heal him for a moment.
Tell me how this feels.
Hard heal. You have to hard heal. I know you feel like, hey, I'm body blocking with him. This is my best chance to do damage, but he's going to get blown up. When he went for this Fire Strike animation,
Get into position. Tell me how this
it's
feels.
dumb. He shouldn't do this, but he did. He can't put his shield up when he's fire striking like this, and there's a bunch of opponents looking at him, so I know he's about to take a bunch of damage. So I did not want to be doing damage during this. I wanted to be healing during this. And sure enough, he did. Okay, ease up. He's behind cover. Heal Zarya instead of him. He's fine. Zarya's in much more danger than him. We're not healing the person who's lowest health, the person who we can get the most ult charge off of. We're healing the person who's in the most danger, and that's Zarya right now. Okay, that's fine. You probably don't need to hard heal Zarya anymore. You can just let okay, now you hard heal Zarya because she's being looked at. Sure, you're going to throw some healing on Zarya. Oh, she's still purple. I didn't realize that Zarya got hit by it. My bad. Okay, you're done. That's purple. That's purple. Only person you can heal is Mercy, and I'm not willing to do it. I'm going to leave. I'm going to angle myself out to here and potentially go, hey, let me apply some right click, and then I can hotbind cover type thing. Until these change, that's all you can do. Right click or leave is the only thing you can do. No. Now you're going to heal, but this isn't a good place to be. This isn't a good place to be. You knew you needed to work your way over here. Like, this was you knew how this fight was going to unfold. You were always going to need to be working your way over here during that second or so you had. And you're just in the open. So this is just not thinking about your cover, not thinking about how the fight is going to evolve. That makes sense. When watching this, I was wondering when I'm supposed to pop out to do damage to keep my resource up. Sounds like the answer is don't, and rely a lot more on hot until the brawl. Mostly, yeah. And you did find some okay windows, like when your Reinhardt went out here for a moment, you went, let me get a little bit done at the beginning. Like, if he has his hot going on him, and he steps out, and he's basically, or he is full health when he steps out, you might take just a second, less than a second, to do right-click damage, and then go back to either healing him or applying the hot, depending on if he kept it open or not. But if you have that hot going on him, you have a little bit more give room to do that, and you can do it through him. But then he'll do things like stay out there, and if he's staying out there, you absolutely have to heal him. Or if he does something foolish like Fire Strike, well, I need to heal him during that. If he does a corner Fire Strike where he winds up, peeks, throws it, and then hides the unwind animation, that's different. He's safe enough during it, and you could peek with him and right-click during it, especially if he was pre-hotted. But yeah, it sounds like you're getting it.
New beginning. New thinking. This will restore you.
Okay, we don't need to be in front of our team. There's no way we're contesting.
My ultimate is charged.
Not if us and Soldier are the only people in front. Cool, cool. Okay, slower, slow that healing down. Fade. It's just life. Work your way back up. The Sonic Arrow is scary. That's more hot than you need. That's scary, that's scary. I'm glad we got it. That was also scary. Like, the Hanzo's dead, we're safe now. No, 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 there's still a hog that could hook you. Like, I'd see this and I'd instantly fade. Like, I'd see this and I'd be like, nope, I'm done. I'm done. And I don't really want to join my Reinhardt in here to fight the Reaper. I'd like to support him, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to fade and go here because there's a hog that is staring right at you, and I don't know if he has hook or not. So I'm going to have to fade.
Injured again.
Okay, so you have to decide if you can win this with Coalescence or not. We can't. Okay.
Such a action. I require assistance.
Sure. Go to cart or leave. Leave. You can get out. You can get out if you leave now. No, you can't walk back in. This fight is over. You're just staggering. Okay. Cool. We still get out. We have to get out. We have to get out. We haven't slowed the cart down at all, so we have to get out alive.
My ultimate is almost ready.
You can't fix the soldier's mistake. It's unfortunate, but do not add to the problem. Secure your own oxygen mask before helping others. Leave. You don't have fade. So Soldier got staggered, and 2 to 3 seconds later, you got staggered. So Soldier created a problem, and it was about a 6 or 7 second problem for your team, maybe more, but you made that problem even worse. Not as bad as he did, but you made the problem even worse by hanging out there and now delaying when your next fight can happen with 6 people, or forcing you to take a 5-man fight for longer, however you want to think about that.
This is not your time.
Okay, we got the res, but that still means we don't have res for the fight. Okay. Dodge it. Okay, healing orb. Healing orb.
Get into position.
Okay. You're gonna have to coalescence this too. This is totally doable. That Hanzo is free. You coalescence that Hanzo and you take him down. Okay, fine. That'll work. It's a little unfortunate because we don't really need, like, Grav Dragon was already going to win this fight. We sort of threw an ult that we didn't need into there. Grav Dragon was already almost certainly a win. If they'd transed, maybe we'd add this to it, but we really don't need to do that anymore either.
You have served your purpose.
Okay. Team's fine. We're pushing staggers. There's not a damage orb already on that, Anna. Like, I'm a little surprised that you haven't already thrown a damage orb at her.
This will heal you.
Okay.
Regenerating the cellular structure. Hello.
Okay.
I require assistance. seem in need of aid.
Anna got out somehow. I mean, she had decent distance, and it's not like the movement is amazing on this team, but yeah, we'd have liked the damage orb on her immediately to help chip her.
The power
Because
of
maybe it combines with
destruction.
another piece of spam from, say, a body shot from your Hanzo, or right click from your Zarya, that sort of thing. A fire strike.
Oh, tipper than ya.
Okay. You need to close the angle. Close the angle. Good.
Resistance.
No, no, no. You're done. You're done. You have full resource. There was no reason to be risking your life. There wasn't even really a great reason to be risking your life behind the Zarya with the body blocking, because you have full resource. It's way more healing than we need on
You seem in
Reinhardt.
need
It's
of aid.
way more resource than we needed to spend. Our resource right now should be chilling right here. Like, we'd still have a full health Reinhardt, but our resource would be right there.
This will restore you.
Okay, damage orb to make him leave as soon as we can. Damage orb. So here's the little secret about Moira. Healing orbs are more total value in terms of, oh, there's 300 HP in them instead of 200 HP. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Your damage orbs, unlike your right clicks, don't cause you to gain healing resource back. Yeah. Okay, so all of those are good reasons to use healing orbs instead of damage orbs. But here's the thing. When you get people on off angles that are unsupported, that don't have Harmony Orbs, that don't have Moira standing with them, that don't have Briggs throwing packs at them, when you see those sorts of things, when you see off-angled unsupported DPS, damage orbs do a lot to really annoy them and make them leave faster. If a Sombra's bothering you, damage orb is great. Force her to translocate faster. If a McCree or a Hanzo is off-angled against you, drop a damage orb in their direction and just be like, have fun with that. And they're going to be like, wait, what am I? I have to go find a health pack? I'm not even that high mobility of a character. What are you doing? Like, yes, it's not going to eliminate them most of the time, but it's going to make them respect the threat of any additional poke damage, taking them down quite a bit faster. Basically, damage orb is your tool as Moira for trying to clear off angles of unsupported DPS. And this Hanzo that was back here has been demanding a damage orb for quite a bit, and now he's got McCree and Hanzo, or excuse me, Reaper and Hanzo both up here, and yeah, now they're a little easier to support. Now they're a little easier for, hey, their Anna can potentially help them out and heal them, but they're still going to be worth a damage orb because the Anna's probably pretty distracted, handling her tanks, things like that right now. So let's get that out there and try to make them leave. Damage orb, good solution for unsupported off-angling DPS. Sadly, you've got to get back to work. GG and have fun, everyone. Sounds good. Enjoy your work, Stone Monkey. You'll be on the lookout for it, Adam. Okay. The Anna got out somehow. Yeah, we talked about that one. Okay. Is Moira's damage orb her utility? Or is Moira's damage orb her utility? I mean, like, we're talking about using a damage orb for that, but, like, McCree can just left-click people to make them leave. Her orb is kind of closest to her utility. Her utility is that she has cleave healing and high survivability. It's not enough, but it's what her utility is. Okay. You just leave. You still just leave. Bye, Ryan.
Get into position.
You didn't leave far enough with your fate. There was no reason for you to get staggered there. You absolutely could have gotten out. Your team wasn't going to get out, but your team wasn't going to win that team fight no matter what, so you just wanted to leave.
I must reflect upon this.
Depends on what you define as utility. It does.
The power of
You don't consider her to have any? Fair.
injured again. This will heal you.
I mean, invisibility on Sombra is an ability too, but I think most of us would consider that utility. It improves your scouting significantly for your team in organized play. Less so on ladder. So again, here you are. You're sort of standing in the middle of your team, and I don't like it. And I am also thinking, can I bounce an orb up here to bounce it down here to, again, apply damage to these off-angled DPS, especially when there's not a diva on this team. Now, they're easier to support than before. Their Anna's back here. She'll probably get them up, but I'm looking for ways to make this annoying, and my Sonic Arrow is telling me that these guys are here, and I don't really... Like, I'm going to struggle to get a right-click up there. I'm not really going to struggle to get a damage orb up there, and my team didn't really need this healing orb. You needed a little bit of healing, but whatever, you're okay. Eventually your Brig will get you. And I do want you more over here where you have cover, truth be told. I don't want you just standing in the middle of the lane here. Because if your Reinhardt puts a shield or gets eliminated, nothing you can do to save yourself. Nope, nope. Now we push forward. Yep, that's right, that's right. You pull this, you pull this. You do not lose this fight. You pull, you pull.
Repair the damage.
Okay, so here we could potentially call here to go, hey, I'm going to force Fade or Wraith. It's not great, but we could do it. But what we're definitely going to call this right here. Oh. Wait, there's a huge amount of cleave to be had, but more importantly, there's an Anna. Like, oh, there's an Anna right there to get? That is a problem. Oh, my mouse just got floaty. That's weird. I must have hit a button. Okay. So we're going to look at that. Yeah, that's really uncomfortable. We're going to look at that, and we're going to hit it. If we have it, we could also go, hey, not healing orb here, but we could fade over here, or we could have faded over here and throw damage orb plus coalescence from back here, and there's no way that the Anna is getting to cover. All we have to do is dodge a sleep dart, and we have increased movement speed to dodge that sleep dart. So we can almost certainly dodge the sleep dart, hopefully dodge the hook, and take out the Anna with this sort of thing. Like, this is what we're looking to do, and this team was less likely to turn around and come get us because they took down our Reinhardt. They want to push. They think they're winning this fight, and we go, okay, I need to make sure they don't, and I go over here and eliminate from the back line. That's the way we're thinking about using this.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Moira is what happens when you make a selfish character in a role that's all about working with others. Kinda, yeah.
We must all make sacrifices.
Surrender
To my will.
Okay. You have to pocket tanks. It sucks, but you have to pocket tanks with this. Yeah. Find a squishy. Only chance. Too late. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Get into position. I require assistance.
A lot of healing. He's already full health.
Get into position.
He's already full health. I promise. Let him be. Let him be. He'll get healed to full. You have more than enough healing particles either on the way to him because it is technically a projectile or hot healing him. You have more than enough. You can leave. And you probably do need to go anchor cart because either you are going to anchor it yourself with Fade or you're going to heal your tanks who are trying to anchor it and you're going to make them survive a lot longer. You're going to Fade if you have to. If they're not paying attention, you'll just walk, but you'll Fade, get yourself here, and play from here. This is the sort of place you actually like playing from, with cover near your tanks. 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 That's where you like to be playing.
I will rebuild you.
Okay. But I don't need to... No. Yes. Like here-ish. Like here-ish. I don't want to be here. You can't make me.
Gale the Mahal. This will restore you. This will heal you. I will draw the strength
Okay.
of your body.
Warp? I mean, I'm questionable about that healing orb. You'd taken damage, but I'm still skeptical because there's plenty of things for you to right-click to get health off of. And remember, your right-click does regain you health. You hadn't taken that much damage. And look at this juicy damage orb right here. Look at this juicy damage orb. It's possible Sigma will grab it with shift, but this, I'm taking this. I'm not pushing it myself, but I'll send an orb into it.
Allow me to repair the damage.
That healing orb makes sense. That's right. It's a pretty aggressive fade, do only right click, but okay, we at least hit an orb afterwards. But that doesn't mean you can't play Moira well, Semitic. I mean, yeah, I don't love her design either, but there's absolutely ways to play her well, and some people do enjoy her. And she is a good hero to have in your pocket to swap to because, yes, support is a role about enabling others, but there is something to be said for, okay, supports can peel for each other, but if that's not happening, the other support isn't peeling for you, or you're getting dove by 5 people and the rest of your team is just too slow to dive their team. Okay, maybe you do want to think about a way to play the game. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the design space, but she does exist, and because she exists, knowing how to use her well can be quite good.
Get into position. Surrender to my will.
Like, you guys know, for example, Blue X, who will do some streams in our Discord, things like that, is a former Contenders Flex Support Pro, and while he is much, much happier playing Zen or Ana or reviewing Zen or Ana or things like that, he will absolutely tell you, as a former Contenders Flex Support, that there's times where he absolutely did swap to Moira because Moira just solved the problem. So she exists. Knowing how to use her has value. Okay, so here we go. We're pushing out here. You don't have cover. Your cover is currently this, and you don't really have good control over this as your cover. So we're thinking about, do we need to turn this into our cover in case they push us? Are we just going to play more aggressive because we have fade? Well, we should still have cover even if we're in front of our whole team. Well, this isn't right. This isn't right.
Surrender to my
And
will.
now we're coalescing. I can live with this. I can live with this coalescence. I don't love it. This is sort of a coalescence to get staggers that I don't actually think you need. I don't think this team is engaged hard enough. I'd really like my coalescence to happen right as the brawl phase is happening, as the fight is getting serious. This is a running away team, but this is, how do I want to put this? This is a team that's about to engage you, but this is just a little bit early. It's a little bit early. I want your tanks to have actually met, because then they can't afford to pay all of their attention to you. It's too easy for them right now to go, oh, let's pay attention to you with Rock. Let's pay attention to you with Whipshot and Bash. Let's pay attention to you with Hook. Yeah, I just mixed those up, I know. Like, you don't want them to be able to pay attention to you with all those resources. If they use Wraith plus Whipshot, Bash, Hook, Rock, Fade, whatever, to survive and deal with this healing orb, to survive and deal with your coalescence, they can still just leave. And that's unacceptable. Like, they can use all these tools to deal with your coalescence, and if they actually get to use all these tools to deal with your coalescence, they will live through your coalescence, and they'll possibly eliminate you, and that's a problem. Now, they can't use Hook because they just hooked Doomfist, who's using his Meteor Slam, and will probably Meteor Slam behind them, which makes this play a little bit better. But what we're looking for here is, I want our tank lines to have met. I want the fight to be happening a little bit more seriously. I don't want to be the most far forward person on my team, not including Doomfist, because they can afford to use all these resources to deal with you, and then just back up. You see what I'm saying? Recharge those cooldowns, push back in, and win either with you eliminated or with your coalescence gone, and you won't have your coalescence back. So that's why we want to use it when the tank lines have actually met in a lot of situations. Yes, join Discord. We have Blue X. Okay. Val is in full recruiting mode because she wants more players, but especially more DPS players for our scrims. Scrims, pugs, whatever we want to call them. Okay, good.
I'm restoring you. This will
Okay.
heal you.
That's a lot of healing. That's a lot of healing.
This is my will.
Okay. Balls in, balls in. Your team should be pushing harder. You can push. Unfortunate. No, no, you don't want to go back for Hanzo right now. This is just an unacceptable mistake.
This is my will.
Your ball just went in hard. You don't want to be the only one to go in, but as soon as you realize, wait, yes, my Zarya is also going in, now you're good. Your team is actually pushing. Your Lucio's pushing. Your Zarya's pushing. I don't want to back up from this. My ball is in. I need my team and I to provide enough distraction. I can support my Zarya as my Zarya creates that distraction to push this team. I don't know if you're just not liking it because you're like, no, 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 we could get back capped. I'm scared. Something like that, which would be wrong. I don't know if that's what's going on, but like you need to be here ready to support this, perhaps doing a little bit of drain thing, be a little bit annoying, that sort of thing. Because unsurprisingly, most of them have turned towards ball to deal with ball, which makes it very safe for you to go, even with a Hanzo on the other team, for you to go, hey, I'm going to right click like this on the Hog. And if that annoys Hog enough to turn him around, you just close the angle, that sort of thing. They start shooting at Zarya, great. You can heal the Zarya with all this resource that you farmed off of Hog. Like, this is what we want to be doing right now. You are a tank healer, and you're making the decision to go, I'm going to leave while a fight. We used an ult. We used our minefield. Our Hammond went in hard and used his 2 big commit abilities, Adaptive Shield and Pile Drive. And you're running away for 3 seconds to heal Hanzo? What? Huh? Huh? Now, I don't like that your Zarya and Lucio backed off either, and if you're in comms, you should be screaming push, 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 but, like, this does make sense. Hanzo can go find a health pack, or he can get closer to the fight where you'll heal him. Burn all these cooldowns when your team can capitalize on it. Exactly. Ship in the dark. Hanzo pressed X, so I instinctually went back to him, but yeah, definitely should have been with the tanks. You got it. You got it. And you weren't going to walk in there to heal Hammond, like Hammond is ultimately on his own, but you can absolutely support the Zarya push in there. As well as farm resources. It would have been easy for you to farm resources back to here off of Hog before Hog did anything. Like, I guarantee you Hog was not going to turn to deal with you before you farmed resources back to here. We may pick up the pace a little bit on this one.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Okay. A lot of healing there. Okay, just leave. Try to get to Zarya. That probably wasn't the route out. Your route out was probably correctly predicting which way she was going to go and going over here. The cover's just a little bit better. And you're not healing her right now. Now you're healing her a little. Oh no, maybe Lucio was doing it. Okay. Okay, you're going to have to healing orb.
This will restore you.
My ultimate is
Okay, don't... Okay.
Repairing the
You
damage.
really don't want to be here. So if you don't want to be here, you can fade to get yourself out here and then play with cover, where you can sort of zap them with right clicks across and heal your team. Or you can get yourself in here, where again, you can heal your team from here and just peek gently to right click, that sort of thing. See what you do.
60 seconds.
Yeah. Did an off-angled Hanzo get you? Was he vulnerable to a damage orb? You didn't have a damage orb, so that's not fair.
Fire at will.
We'll make it through the whole thing, Ship in the Dark. We might just move a little bit faster. A little less pausing, a little more. We've talked about this, another example, that sort of thing. Okay. A little more damage on the Reaper, good. You're just playing Ring Around the Rosy, best you can. Healing orb over damage is right, though you probably did it early. It's fine. Okay, let's continue through to our extra time rounds here. Okay.
Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
So that was safe.
End Objective A.
And Fade's not that long of a cooldown. That was better than what you did last round.
I found
That's a little aggressive of an angle open. It was fine at first, you just made it aggressive. So,
No need to mess
here we
about.
are.
I found
This is fine. This is fine. This is not so fine.
I'm restoring you.
Okay. Roll your hot real quick on Zarya. Leave. Excuse me? Why are we opening the angle bigger? Okay, you're done. You healed them plenty. Unless they walk forward more or start taking more damage, you're good. Stop healing them. Okay, now you keep healing because obviously he's going to get pulled in and take a lot of damage.
Get into position.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm under attack.
we leave. We were almost in danger there because our fade got forced earlier. That's something we'd usually have been happy to fade to leave, but we couldn't. You can't end your fade here. Your fade is invincibility. You don't have to stay away from the enemies while you're in fade. You can go right across the enemies to get yourself over here. We're at a better angle to continue playing from.
Your strike fades.
Yeah. It's not a place you can pay. I think it would be cool if Moira got extra effects from doing X healing or X damage, like double range heal and AoE damage suck. That'd be a fun rework, hard to implement but powerful. Yeah, I mean, I think there's more potential in general for like someone who's under the effect of her hot to maybe have that hot do something. Maybe have that hot cause them to walk a little bit faster. You'd have to rework her a little bit to probably make the hot last a little bit longer and make her total healing a little bit less, but okay, they walk faster while they're under the effect of the hot, or they actually have 15% damage reduction while they're under the effect of the hot, or something like that. Could be interesting.
Hello.
10 seconds remaining.
We can do this.
Objective
Okay, so now we're on BAP.
stop overtime.
I don't really want to like 2v4 these guys. Okay. Ouch. Okay, so this is just a mistake. You hit your shift, you would basically go, I can just walk out of this, which you do actually have time to do, but you sort of do the worst of both worlds. You go, I'm going to crouch so I can charge my jump so I can get above it, which is unfortunate. That's not really what we wanted to do here. We could have kept walking and we'd have been safe, or we could have said, no, I'm going to lamp because I don't trust my Zarya. Either one of those would have gotten you out of here. Obviously, walking would have been preferable. Make hot spread like virus. Does it keep evolving? The more times it bounced, does it become a more powerful variant? Like it starts as a hot, it does, you know, maybe 10 health per second, but by the end of the match, if it bounces like 10 different times without disappearing, without you having to apply a new one, by the end is it doing 50 health per second, plus 10% movement speed, plus 15% damage reduction, plus 8% more damage done? Like, does it evolve as it bounces between people?
My ultimate is charging.
I don't really like the shift. I get it, they're missing health, but the truth is, this is very easy for you to heal with right clicks. Your shift only heals your team 75 health over time, and your Reinhardt's already full, and it heals you 150 health over time. It is much better used on yourself than it is on your team. Remember what we talked about, how like you can throw a damage orb at an off-angle McCree or Hanzo and sort of make them uncomfortable, make them feel like they have to leave, make them play more conservatively. Same thing is true for you when you're on BAP, except now you can counter one of those things by shifting. If you can't counter that by shifting because you used it ineffectively on your team, you're now going to have to play more passive, and you're not going to get as many left clicks on the enemy, or you're going to be afraid to open angles to heal your team. So that's why we don't really like to use it very much on our team. There's times when you do, but it's not our priority, and there it definitely didn't make sense. Too slow.
Payload has reached the checkpoint.
This will restore you.
Obviously, we could have left. We could have reacted with well, we
ultimate
couldn't have reacted with lamp, but
somewhere.
we didn't need to still be there. We weren't really going to stop that. We don't really need to be here. Where we actually want to go right now is up here. It still puts our team in front of us where we can heal them with right clicks. It gives us high ground, which is good for our right clicks because they arc downwards. It gives us high ground, which is good for hitting headshots on the opponents. It gives us high ground, which means enemies have to use mobility to get to us if they're close range heroes. So we like our high ground. We wanted to hop up here, not go down here. Just use your boots, get yourself up here. Easy to weave shots between your friends and your opponents, all that good stuff. Don't run into fire strikes. Okay. And are we Moira or Bapping for the last round here?
Let's not wait.
Moira. Okay. Good. Then we can keep our Moira lens on and not really talk about Bap much there.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend.
Okay.
This will heal you.
If you guys have questions, you can throw them up in chat. I see that we just got a jump. Maybe we got a baby host or something. Not really a YouTube thing, but hey. If you guys are new here, please do feel free to ask questions, as well as to, drop a like, consider subscribing. We do reviews. We cover other stuff as well. So we're throwing some damage up over there. We don't really want to be here anymore. Like, we just leave. We literally just fade and leave. There's no way we're pushing this.
This will restore you. I need to recharge.
Okay. Sure, except that damage orb isn't going to bounce in a way that's useful. We sent it this way. Oh, it got more people than I expected. Okay, I'll take it. Cool. Careful about the Hanzo over there. What do we do? What do we do about off-angled Hanzos like that? What do we do? Oh yeah, we throw damage orbs at them. Now, it's a little annoying because the Bap's going to heal him, but it still makes sense. Even though it's not going to be as much ult charge as we get off of throwing it at their team, which still doesn't have a diva, it's still going to be worth making him leave, especially right now, because right now their team is going to be pretty distracted. Their BAP is going to be wanting to pump damage into our Reinhardt shield to make our rotation harder.
Injured again.
Okay, at least we used a damage orb in the group. Second best choice.
That's much better.
Heal Reinhardt. Just a little bit. Get the hot going, at the very least. Now there's a Reaper in his face, so seriously heal him. He fires straight. Good serious heal.
This will heal
Okay,
you.
this is fine. Except that we don't want to peek the window. That's a Reaper on the enemy team. You don't heal him. Okay.
I require assistance. With some Parulat.
We're obviously too slow to get our ult if both Window and their co come out first, as well as the Dragon Strike.
You're into position.
And beat charged. Okay. This can't happen. So we're definitely too slow on getting our coalescence if our Lucio is able to get his ult first. Like, Lucio's ult is one of the slower ults to charge in the game. Now, he's probably stealing too many heals, spending a lot of time on heal when there might have been some more times that made sense on speed. But this is telling us that we're not finding good opportunities to heal. We're not weaving between our heal and damage well, so we're missing out on some damage there. Like, there's more to be done because we're just now getting our ult and he's already beat it. Okay. You still can't heal the enemy team.
Surrender to my will.
He's the actually worst target because he's got Fade. Or equivalent of Fade, Wraith. And he's walking towards cover. Hanzo was the better target to melt here. I totally get why you're going after him. You're trying to protect your Zarya, but I want to delete Hanzo.
Surrender
Hanzo's rooted
to my
himself
will.
with this. I can stay on Hanzo. Yeah.
My will made real. My conditions are here.
Okay. So that's cool and all if you could do meaningful damage. Like, you can't really live here. You can maybe go over here and drop a damage orb, but you don't have one of those. I get that you're trying to finish someone off, but, like, you apply a lot of support to your front line. You don't actually apply very much damage pressure to their back line unless you have Coalescence. So I don't really want you here. I get it. You're trying to finish the Reaper, but he wraithed, and Bap is going to have no trouble healing him. There's no way you finish him anymore. That said, off-angle pressure lets your team push. Generally not the right move for you, unless you have Coalescence. Okay. You have to Fade. Oh, you don't have Fade. Okay. You don't have Fade because you went on an adventure. Unfortunate.
That changes my thinking. The power of destruction. Restoring you.
Okay. Halfway to another coal. We can try to win with that. Didn't want that damage orb, or that heal orb. Would have preferred a damage orb. Like a damage orb at their group that doesn't have a diva or at the off-angle Hanzo. Both of those were better than healing your team when you have massive cleave heals available for them. And they weren't exactly unhealthy.
60 seconds remaining.
It's a lot of resource we've used. I don't really need to be in front of my team here. This is better. Oh, we didn't need it. That's a lot of heal that we're throwing out. Now we need to fire hose Rhine. Okay, you correctly realize you can hot a little because he's got the overshield. Let's now go back to re-hotting him. Re-hot him. Re-hot your Rhine. Please re-hot your Rhine. Please actually heal your Rhine too late. Yeah. Okay.
Surrender to
No.
my will.
No, Reinhardt is not the target. Moira might be the target. Does she have Fade? Reaper is the target because he doesn't have Wraith. Yeah.
This will heal you.
Moira the Explorer.
30 seconds remaining.
This is mostly just junk time at this point.
10 seconds remaining.
No dying, man.
No, you don't swap to Bap late. You can swap to Moira late. You don't swap to Bap late. Moira's got the better speed,
Overtime.
the better survivability for contesting point. Okay.
Victory.
Jump back to a Moira scene. Cool. So, this. You got to get this more right this is a never-ending thing with Moira. You can always make it better, but right now you will spend way too heavy when your team is healthy. Spend less heavy when your team is healthy, unless your team is actively brawling. More hot work, less fire hose work, unless your team is actually brawling, actually fighting, or they're doing something that makes it predictable that they're going to take damage, like they're fire striking, like your Reinhardt, just got hooked, something like that. So like, though that really is brawling at that point. So like, we're really looking for, we want to do more hot healing in poke phases and less fire hose healing. And in those poke phases, if the opponents are close enough for you to right click, great. While your hot is rolling, you can do some right click damage. And if the damage is really light in the brawl phase, you can let your hot do work and keep mixing in while your hot is ticking to keep your resource up even higher. But once anyone starts taking damage, or you really expect them to take damage, and by anyone I mean your tanks, you just fire hose heal them. If you can cleave them, great. If you've been using your hot healing well and you've been mixing in right click damage where you can, you should be able to go, oh, the fight's starting, I have this much resource left, let me just drain myself back to here before I go back to more conservative healing, and that should take me to here, or at least to here on my ult, and I should pretty quickly be able to get the rest of the way with another orb, something like that, and now I'm going to coalescence. And if I have my fade, maybe I'll fade myself onto an aggressive angle. If I don't have my fade, I'm still probably going to pop it, as long as either my tanks are somewhat close to their ult and are in brawl range with the other tanks, or, and this would be the preference, there's a squishy I can take down. So I just actually went through 2 points there, but they're important and they're related. Resource management is going to be our first point. We've covered that. We want more hot healing in the poke phase, fire hose healing saved for the brawl phase, and then when we do it, it's when our tanks have actually met the other tank line, that sort of thing. There's a Reaper in the face. They got hooked in. A Reinhardt is swinging on another Reinhardt, an Orisa, that sort of thing. That we want to heal pretty hard. Then we want to use our coalescence. We'd like to take out a squishy. We're going to pay attention to some of those cooldowns. We'd like to use it when a squishy is a few seconds, couple seconds from cover, and we can use our own fade to make them be a couple seconds from cover, to change our angle so they are a couple seconds from cover there, and we're doing it while our team is fighting, so that if they use a bunch of resources to deal with us, a bunch of cooldowns, our team just runs them over because our team is already right there. Those are the 2 biggest things that are really going to help your Moira. I'm going to give you a third thing, and it's going to be pay attention to unsupported off-angle DPS and throw your damage orb at them to make them go away. Or at least to make them play more conservatively, because that's going to help you. But these 2 are more important for your Moira play and are going to take you further. If we gave you a fourth thing, it would be about how you use cover, but we're not going to give you a fourth thing. That's really too much, and your main focus should be these 2 things right here. So that's what I want you to work on. If you have questions, please throw them up in chat. If other people have questions, feel free to throw them up in chat as well. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do drop a like, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Oh, we just spiked in viewers again. If you guys are new here, maybe I ended up in a playlist, I don't know. We do VOD reviews here for players of every level. We do reviews of guides, we do reviews of Reddit threads, we talk about video gaming stuff, sometimes we talk about investing, sometimes we talk about health stuff. We do a fair amount, but Overwatch is mostly the domain that we're in here, and we do reviews, micro, macro, all that good stuff, as well as, talking more about how the game works. So if you have questions for a former Contenders coach, you guys can throw those up now. If you're enjoying the content or want to see more of it, do drop a like there, consider subscribing, and yeah. Did see some damage orbs, yeah. You surprised how their Lucio got beat before Moira got Cole? I hear you. Okay, did see some damage orbs. Hi chat, can someone view a game that I hard carried and... Hi chat, can someone view a game that I hard carried and still lost by bad tanks for the bajillionth time? I don't understand how much more should I do to win games as support, no matter if I main or flex. Well, I mean, I just did a review here about how to win games as Moira. How to win games as Moira's support is a lot about getting that early coalescence and using that early coalescence to win a couple extra team fights over the course of a match. That coalescence is really useful for sniping squishies. Find a squishy that's a couple seconds from the cover and delete it. Now that's just Moira because that's who we're talking about, but every support, every flex support especially, has a pretty good way to take over games if they want. The main supports have a little bit more trouble, but they can do it. It's just a little less direct. I mean, Mercy can go win games with Valk pretty aggressively. Lucio can do a lot of different things with his mobility, with his ability to be everywhere. He can have massive differences in fights. You're just not going to see at any single second him making huge differences. And then, Brig just doesn't let the enemy team play dive. Okay. But yeah, Christian, if you're really concerned about a game, you can throw it up in the freebie hopefuls on my Discord. Maybe I'll take a look and review it. No promises, but you can absolutely join the Discord in the description below. And then either you can, go purchase a session, in which case, yes, I'll definitely review your game. Or if you're just like, no, I'm not willing to pay at this point, I want to stick around, find out more, throw it in the freebies. Maybe I'll grab it, maybe I won't. But if you want it reviewed for sure, paid coaching is what I do here. I'd always thought I had to be behind my team or at least on the same angle to Cole, but super interesting to think about fading to get a better angle. Yep, there you go. And yeah, you do have to get in a limb if you fade to a different angle. Because if you fade to a different angle like that, you're not going to be able to support your tanks as well, right? So it's really important that you do, in fact, get that elimination. But our preference with Coalescence is to get the elim. Our secondary option is to support our tanks when they're already close to their ults. So if fading is going to allow you to get an elim and you're not going to support your tanks as well with it, that's fine. Go do it. Have you decided which map guide you're doing next? I would still love to see Ilios. That's an excellent question, Nick. I have not, but I probably owe you guys one of those. I'm probably going to try to fit that in today. I kept thinking I was going to fit in what I already wrote up, which was a who should be pushing the cart video, but I probably should do a map guide today instead is another thing, because I didn't manage to get one in last weekend. I don't have Discord, sorry, and you play Ana, Zen, and Bap in this game. Got 2 ults with Bap in 2 minutes. Okay, drop them and win. Drop your ult at your feet, preferably at your feet on high ground, and just delete the enemy team. Like, Bap does plenty of damage. Bap with window, literally just chucking out Bap's ult like candy every time it comes up, every time the fight is even or close to even, as long as you have a slightly different angle than your team, is going to be pretty meaningful. It's a lot of pressure to win fights, and if you're not winning at that point, when you're dropping windows and you're on a slightly different angle than your team, it's probably because you're not hitting enough left clicks through your windows. Is it okay for Moira to take high ground alone? I dropped from mid gold after 3 years in plat diamond zone, and it's painful. I don't know what's worse, uncontested important area or no support spine tanks. Moira's not going to be able to do a ton on high ground by herself. No, Moira doesn't do a ton by herself in general. She can fight off flankers by herself, sort of, but she can't really do that. She can sort of do that with support, but whatever. She defends herself a bit better. You're not going to be like sending her through an off angle to chase out a Tracer or a Genji or something like that, though. So no, you don't really want to send her to the high ground alone because she can't do enough from up there. She can't really hold it. It's not like I'm up here, so Genji can't be. Not really. Okay. Also, after watching a bunch of your VOD reviews, I've been able to win multiple games that felt like they were slipping away by looking for another off angle for my team, so thank you for that. I'm glad that's helped. I don't really think, the answer is, for a lot of games, if it just feels like you're putting your head into a wall, a lot of those games can be changed with, okay, let's add another angle. It's part of why I think the map guide series that I've put up there is probably one of the most valuable pieces of Overwatch content that's been put out ever from Overwatch content creators. Like, the map guides are that helpful because off angles are that helpful. Actually understanding lanes is just that helpful for winning at Overwatch. Thank you, Temporal. Watched a lot of Overwatch coaches' reviews, and I love how clear your coaching is and how much detail effort you put into each one. You're welcome. You're welcome. Finish the map guides. get complete set, then we can move on to next series. I mean, that's not generally how creators work, Val. We mix stuff up. We don't just go map guide, 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 map guide. Like, we don't just go like, okay, let me do this over 20 days and we're done. We usually do mix stuff in there, as you'll see I'm doing. I'm still doing VOD reviews. I'm still doing we just reviewed a macro guide yesterday. We'll probably do another review of another content creators things. We did Skyline most recently. It's probably time to do someone else again there. We're going to continue to mix stuff up because it keeps it more interesting for people when we rotate like that. Variety is the spice of life. New scarf. Actually, old scarf. I think this was scarf number 2 that came out on stream here. But it's cold enough again for me to wear this scarf and not totally feel like I'm overheating. This one's a little heavier duty than the other two. Okay. That's going to do it. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do drop a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't. If you want to catch me when I'm live to ask questions and such in the future, the best way to do that is to join my Discord. And in the Discord, you can go down to the Get Notifications channel, react to become a watcher, and then you'll get Discord pings so you can see when I'm streaming. You can see what the topic's going to be. Maybe you care a lot about Silver Moira. Maybe you care a lot about Master Zarya. Maybe you care a lot about Owl sponsors dropping. Maybe you care a lot about AMC accepting Bitcoin. You know, whatever it is, you can be like, hey, I care about this. I don't care about this, and be here or don't be here for those. But best way to do that is to join to become a watcher. You can instead or also become, YouTube, click the bell there to get notifications. But the watcher pings go out immediately, whereas YouTube bell notifications are pretty hit and miss, as any YouTuber would tell you. Okay, that's going to do it. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.